Welcome. I am Professor S.R. Chakne. Today we will discuss about the lecture number 5, that is soil and water conservation techniques, in which we are studying firstly the different agronomic practices which are used as a soil as well as the moisture conservation practices. In that, first practice which is used as the strip cropping. So it is the important agronomical practice in which the ordinary crops which are planted or grown in the form of relatively narrow strips across the slope of the land. That means in this strip cropping, farmers mostly grown the agronomical crop in the different narrow strips across the slope of the land. This method becomes more effective for the erosion control, which is followed with the crop rotation in the area where the terraces are not practically feasible. Particularly the strip cropping method, which is mostly effective in erosion control, which is followed with mostly the crop rotation in area where the different types of the terraces which are not practically feasible in that area. The strip cropping method is helpful. The strip crops checks the surface runoffs and force them to infiltrate into the soil. So the strips or the strip cropping mostly helpful in the checking of the runoff water, and they force, that means they help to infiltrate the soil, infiltrate the water into the soil, and thereby it facilitates the conservation of the most of the rain water. Generally, the use of strip cropping practice for the soil conservation is decided in those areas where the length of slope is not low, not too longer. In these areas, generally the strip cropping practice for the conservation of the soil is mostly practiced. Then what are the different advantages of the strip cropping? In that, first advantage is it reduces the runoff flowing through the close growing sod strips. Then second advantage is increasing the infiltration rate of soil under the cover condition. That means infiltration of water under the cover condition that improves under the strip cropping system. So this is the first agronomic practice which is used as a soil as well as the moisture conservation. Then second one, that is the land preparation. Mostly the land preparation that includes the post harvest tillage that influences the intake of water. That means after the carrying out the any cultural practices, that means the post harvest tillage that increases the intake of water into the soil. Then obstructions to the surface flow and consequently the rate of erosion also. So this land preparation also plays the important role, or which act as the obstruction to the surface flow of water, and it also create the obstacle to the rate of erosion also. That means the rate of erosion is also minimized. Then the deep plowing or the chiseling has been found effective in reducing the soil erosion. Mostly under the land preparation, the deep plowing or the chisel plowing that plays the very important role in reducing the soil erosion as well as the water erosion. Then rough cloudy surface is also effective in reducing the soil erosion. When the surface is rough and the number of clouds are large, in that condition it is effective in the soil erosion mostly. In figure that showing the different land preparation practices which are carried out here, and that cultural operations that is helpful for the most of the water which is infiltrated into the soil, and it also reduces the runoff flow as well as the it control mostly the erosion. Then next important practice which is used as a agronomical practice, that is the mulching. So mulching of the soil with the available plant residue that reduces the soil loss considerably by protecting the soil from the direct impact of raindrop, and it also reduces the sediment carried out with the runoff. These are the important objectives of the mulching. Mostly this mulching help to reduces the soil loss due to the direct impact of the raindrop, as well as it also reduces the carrying out the sediment with the runoff water. A minimum plant residue cover of 30% is necessary to keep the runoff and soil loss within the acceptable limit. That means at least minimum plant residue cover of the 30% which is necessary to reduces the runoff, as well as the keep the soil loss within the acceptable limit. That is very important. Then the vertical mulching also reduces the soil loss, particularly in vertisol, by increasing the rate of infiltration, as vertical mulching is also useful to reduces the soil loss, mostly in black soil or the vertisol. In that soil it increases the rate of infiltration. In this figure, that figure shows the different types of the mulches or the application of mulches in the various soils. Then next agronomical practice, that is the choice of the crop. So crop rows, row crops or the tall growing crops such as the sorghum, maize, pearl millet is not protective in conserving soil, as they expose majority of the soil, known as the erosion permitting crop. So under the choice of the crop, first type of the crop, these are the erosion permitting crop. And when the erosion permitting crops are grown, these are mostly the tall growing crops, and most of the soils which are exposed to the uh, rain as well as the runoff water. And the erosion permitting crops are the sorghum, maize, pearl millet, mostly the all the cereal crops which are categorized under the erosion permitting crop, and these are not protective in the conservation of soil, as they expose the majority of the soil, that is known as the erosion permitting crop. Whereas the close growing crops such as the cowpea, groundnut, green gram, black gram, these are helps to protect the soil. They are known as the erosion resisting crop. This crop as a erosion resisting crop, mostly as like a cowpea, groundnut, green gram and black gram, they are very effective in reducing the soil loss by the minimizing the impact of raindrop, and which act as a obstruction to the runoff water. So erosion permitting crop, they plays the very important role in the creating the obstruction to runoff, as well as they helps to conserve the soil. Then next agronomical practice, that is the crop rotation or the cropping system. So the crop rotation or the cropping system, in which the monocropping of erosion permitting crops that accelerate the soil and water loss year after year. So the crop rotation or the cropping system, which plays the important role in the soil as well as water loss in every year. Then intercropping of the erosion permitting crops and erosion resisting crop or their rotation, which plays the very important role for the conservation of the soil as well as the water. Then crop rotation has been found effective for reducing the soil and water loss also. Then inclusion of the legumes like the lucerne in crop rotation, that reduces the soil loss even in soils having the 13% slope. So the very important example of the crop rotation which is given here, that the inclusion of or including of the legume crops, for example lucerne grass in the crop rotation, they helps to reduces the soil loss if the soil which having the 13% slope. In that condition also it plays the very important role and helps to control the soil loss. Here the crop rotation figure which is given, in that the different crops which are rotated in a year, and that is very helpful in the soil erosion. And in second figure there are the lucerne grass or the alfalfa grass, the in picture showing that helpful in controlling the soil erosion. So the crop rotation or the cropping system, it plays the very important role in controlling the soil erosion. Then the use of the cover crop, it is also one of the important practice which is used against the conservation of the soil as well as the water in the rain-fed area. So the good ground cover by the canopy, that gives the protection to the land like an umbrella and minimize the soil erosion. So The cover crop, which act as the role of the umbrella, as it protect the most of the soil surface and it minimize the soil erosion. Besides conserving the soil and moisture, the cover crops hold those soluble nutrients which are lost by the leaching. Then the covering of soil as well as the moisture by the cover crop, which are soluble nutrient as well as the whatever the nutrient which is lost through the process of leaching, that can be held by the cover crop. Then the third advantage of the cover crop is the addition of the organic matter. So cover crop adds the leaves as well as their canopy to the soil and which act as a organic matter, and after the addition of the organic matter, the humus content of the soil is increases, and after that finally the fertility status of the soil which is improved due to the use of the cover crop in the soil. Then legumes that provide the better cover as well as the better protection to the soil. Particularly the inclusion of the legume crops or the pulse crop, that is very important, as it provide the cover to the surface of soil as well as it provide the better protection to the soil from the different factors. Then among the legume, cowpea has been found effective to produce the maximum canopy, followed by the horse gram, green gram, black gram and the dhencha. Here some examples of the cover crops which are given. In that the cowpea is the most effective and that produces the maximum canopy, and after the cowpea the different crops they also produces the canopy, as these are the horse gram, green gram, black gram and the dhencha. Then next agronomical practice, which is the contour cultivation. So firstly we should know the definition of the contour. Then what is the contour? So the contour is defined as the line joining the points of equal elevation, that is known as the contour. So all the cultural practices such as the plowing, sowing, intercultivation that can be done across the slope, that helps to reduces the soil as well as the water loss. Under the contour cultivation, whatever the cultural practices we are doing, for example plowing, sowing, intercultivation, these all the practices which are done across the slope of land, and these practices helps to reduces the soil as well as the water loss. Then by plowing and sowing across the slope, each ridge of the plow furrow and each row of the crop which act as a obstruction to the runoff and that provide the more time for the water to enter into the soil, that leads to the reduction in the soil as well as the water loss. So under the contour cultivation, by the application of the plowing as well as the cultural practices which are done across the slope of land, for example for example sowing, then each ridge of the plow furrow and each row of the crop that act as a obstruction or the obstacle to the runoff water, as well as it provide the maximum time for the infiltration of water into the soil, and finally it leads into the reduced soil as well as the water loss. So the contour cultivation is also an important agronomical practice which is helpful for the soil as well as the water conservation. Then the second group, that is the mechanical practices, which are also helpful in reducing the soil erosion as well as the conservation of the moisture into the soil. So in that mechanical practice, the first mechanical practice, that is the contour bunding. So the contour bunding is a sustainable land management practice for the marginal sloping and the hilly land where the soil productivity is very low. So this contour bunding, which is mainly practiced in the area for the marginal land as well as those land which having the more slope and the land which is hilly and where the soil productivity is very low, in that area mainly the contour bunding is a sustainable land management practice which is utilized as the conservation of the moisture as well as reducing the erosion of the soil. Then contour bunding consists of the narrow based trapezoidal bunds on the contour to impound the runoff water behind them so that it can gradually infiltrate into the soil for the crop use. So mainly the contour bunding, it consists of the trapezoidal bund which are constructed across the slope of the land, and the important advantages is it gradually helps to increase the infiltrate rate into the soil and further the soil moisture which is used for the crop cultivation. Mainly this contour bunding which is generally recommended for the areas which receiving the less than 600 millimeter of the rainfall. So the contour bunding which is helpful or the recommended for the areas that receives the less than 600 millimeter of the rainfall, that means it is recommended for the low rainfall areas. Then the spacing between two bunds is commonly expressed in terms of the vertical interval, that means it is known as the phi. Phi stands for the vertical interval, which is the difference in the elevation between two similar points on the two consecutive bunds. So the spacing between two bunds that is commonly expressed in the vertical interval, and which is the difference in elevation between the two similar points on the two consecutive bunds. So that is the spacing in between the two contour bund. So this is the first mechanical practice which is used as the conservation of the moisture and the reducing the soil erosion. Then next mechanical practice, that is the graded bunding. So it is the constructed in high rainfall areas, that means those regions which receiving the rainfall of more than 600 millimeter, where the excess water has to be removed safely of the set to avoid the water stagnation. That means mainly the graded bunding which is applicable only the areas which receiving the rainfall of more than 600 millimeter, and that can help to safely remove of the excess water that is present in the crop. Then in case of the highly impermeable soils like the deep black soil, the graded bunds are recommended even in the lesser rainfall area, particularly in the regions of the Karnataka. Mostly this highly impermeable soil like those soils which having the deep soil, then graded bunds are recommended in the low rainfall area, that means those area which receiving the rainfall of 500 millimeter. Then water flows in the graded channel which are constructed on the upstream side of the bunds at non-erosive velocities and is lead to the safe outlet or the grassed waterways. Then the channel portion of the graded bund is put under the cultivation, and the grassed waterways are permanently kept under the grass. Due to that, most of the water which is infiltrated into the soil, and finally in future it is used while the cultivating the crop. Then next mechanical practice, that is the bench terracing. So this bench terracing which is practiced in the steep hill slope, that means those land which having the steep slope where mere reduction of the slope length is not adequate for the reducing the intensity of scoring the action of runoff which are flow down. Then in addition to the slope length reduction, the degree of slope is also reduces. Then bench terracing consists of transforming the relatively steep land into the series of level strip or the platform across the slope to reduces the slope length and consequently the erosion also. So mostly the bench terracing which is practiced those areas which having the land slope of 16 to 33%, and mostly the aim of bench terracing is to reduces the length of the strip, as well as it also helps to reduces the soil erosion. Then the field is made into the series of benches by excavating the soil from upper part and filling in the lower part of the terrace. Normally this bench terrace is practiced on slope of more than 14%, that means from the land having the slope of 16 to 33%. Then depending on the soil, the climate and crop requirement, bench terraces may be tabletop or the level sloping outward as well as the sloping inward. These are the various types of the bench terracing, as the bench terrace are maybe of a tabletop type of the bench terraces. Then it is sloping outward as well as the sloping inward. So this is also the one of the important mechanical practice which is helps for the conservation of the soil as well as the water in the rainfed area. The next practice is the broadbed and the furrows system. Mostly this practice has been recommended by the ICRISAT, that is the International Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropic. So the long form of this ICRISAT, which is very important in exam point of view, which is always asked. So the ICRISAT, that stands for the International Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropic. So this broadbed furrows practice which is recommended by the ICRISAT, which is situated at the Hyderabad. Then it is mainly for fertile or the black soil in high rainfall areas, that means those areas which receiving the rainfall of more than 750 millimeter. In that areas only this broadbed furrows method which is recommended, and mostly it is practiced in the fertile or the black soil. Then the beds of 90 to 120 centimeter width, then 50 centimeter height and the convenient length are formed. They are separated by the furrows of 60 centimeter width and 15 centimeter of the depth. So this is the dimension of the broad bed and furrows. Those beds width which is ranges between 90 to 120 centimeter. Then the height of the bed, that is the 15 centimeter height, and length which is convenient. Then when runoff occurs, its velocity will be reduced by the beds and infiltration opportunity time is also increased by the construction of the broad bed furrows under the fertile or the black soil. That is mainly reduces the velocity of runoff water, and it also increases the runoff infiltration opportunity, as most of the water which is infiltrated into the soil. Then it can be formed by the bullock drawn or the tractor drawn implement. Then the construction of the broadbed furrows, that is BBF, which is carried out with the help of the bullock drawn or the tractor drawn implement. So this is also one of the important practice which is helpful for the conservation of the moisture as well as the soil in the rain-fed area. Then the broadbed furrow has a many advantage over the other method. That means this broadbed furrow method which is beneficial than the other method, as which having the number of advantages which is given here. We see one by one advantages. Firstly, it helps in the moisture storage. That means most of the water which is available after the rainfall, that is stored in the soil, and it helps to conserve the moisture. Then safely disposal of surplus surface runoff without the causing any erosion. That means whatever the water which is available through the surface runoff, and that can be stored in the soil without causing any erosion. Then it also provides the better drainage facility. That means this broadbed furrow that helps to reduces the excess water which is present into the plant field, that can be easily removed. Then it also facilitates the dry seeding. That means the sowing operation can be carried out in the dry soil also. Then it can accommodate a wide range of crop geometry, that is close as well as the wide row spacing. That means all the types of the crops that can be sown in this broadbed and furrow. That means those crops which having the close spacing as well as the wide row spacing can be grown. Then it is suitable for both sole cropping as well as the intercropping system. This broadbed furrow system which is suitable for the sole cropping as well as the intercropping system also. Then sowing can be done with a seed drill also. Then the sowing operation can be done with the help of the seed drill. So these are the various advantages of the broadbed furrow system, which is used as a mechanical method for the conservation of the soil as well as the moisture. Then next one, that is the dead furrows. Then at the time of the sowing or the immediately after the sowing, the deep furrows of 20 centimeter depth are formed at interval of 6 to 8 rows of the crop, that is known as the dead furrow. So this dead furrow, these are open immediately after the sowing, and they are open at a 20 centimeter depth, and they are open at an interval of every 6 to 8 rows of the crop. Then no crop is raised in the furrow. When the dead furrows are open in the crop, in that furrows though no any crop which is raised or cultivated, then the dead furrows can also be formed between two rows of the crops also. Then before the start of the heavy rain, the broad the sorry the dead furrows are open or form between the two rows before the start of the rain. Then it can be done with the wooden plow, mostly in the red soil. Mostly in the red soil, the dead furrows are open with the wooden plow. So see in the figure, there is the opening of the dead furrows which are carried out in first figure. In sugarcane crop, the dead furrows are open at in between two rows, and this second figure also shows the opening of the dead furrow, and in that furrow no any crops which are cultivated, that is shown. So this is about the dead furrow, which is also one of the mechanical practice. Then next one, that is the compartmental bunding. Small beds of 50 centimeter width and 15 centimeter height, which are formed in both directions, and to divide the field into the small basins or compartment of the square or the rectangular shape of 6 by 6 meter to 10 by 10 meter size using the bund former, that is known as the compartmental bunding. So this compartmental bunding, which are constructed as a square or the rectangular shape of the 6 by 6 meter to 10 by 10 meter size, which are open by using the bund former. Mostly these compartmental bunding which are useful for the temporary impounding of the rainwater, which facilitate the high infiltration, which result into the high moisture storage in the soil. Mostly the opening of the compartmental bunding which helps the maximum infiltration of water into the soil, and it also helps for the moisture storage in the soil. Mostly this compartmental bunding which is recommended for the black soil with a slope of 0.5 to 1% slope. Those soil which having the slope of 0.5 to 1%, for that black soil this compartmental bunding which is recommended. Then the maize, sunflower, sorghum, that can perform well in this type of the bunding. That is mostly the compartmental bunding which is useful in the crops like the maize, sunflower, sorghum, etc. Then next one, that is the zinc terracing or the conservation bench terracing. So this is also one of the important practice. These are developed by A.W. Zing in USA. This is the A.W. Zing is the name of scientist which is from USA, and this scientist which has developed this zinc terracing or the conservation bench terracing method. So zinc terracing is practices in low to medium rainfall areas in black soil with a contour bund. Mostly this zinc terracing which is practiced in the low rainfall area to the medium rainfall areas. Then it is a method of land sloping where the lower one-third portion of the land adjacent to the contour which is level to spread the runoff water coming from the remaining two-third portion of the field. Then this rainfall multiplication technique that ensures at least one good crop in one-third area even in a low rainfall year also. So this zinc terracing which is ensures the good crop, or that is helpful for taking the cultivation of crop in the low rainfall area where very low amount of the rainfall which is received. Then usually during the medium rainfall year, water intensive crops like the paddy which are cultivated in the level portion. By the adoption of the zinc terracing, there is the possibility of taking the paddy crop even those year that receiving the medium rainfall. Then while the dry crops are cultivated in the unleveled area, that means those crops which having the or which require the low rainfall, in that area the dry crops which are cultivated where the land is not leveled. So this is also one of the important practice which is mostly adopted in the low rainfall to medium rainfall areas which having the black soil. In that areas the contour bunds are constructed, and that is known as the zinc terracing. Thank you.